more info on tonight's game. Mac, what do you got for us? Thanks, Vince. As you can see behind me, the Gauchos are warming up just an hour before the game is set to get going here at Cesar Uyasaka Stadium, riding off the coattails of an exhilarating win last night against Fresno State, where Aaron Parker went 5 for 5 with 4 singles and a solo home run. To combat that, Jessica Brown also hit 2 home runs, a solo home run in the first, and a 3-run shot in the 4th inning, which allowed the Gauchos to steal the win against Fresno State. This game against Oregon is not going to be an easy matchup, however, as the Gauchos went to Eugene earlier this season and stole 2 of 3 from the Ducks on their home turf. For the Gauchos, it'll be a testament to the strength of Mike Gutierrez. The All-Big West honorable mention has been phenomenal in his 4th year for the Gauchos, and we will see how he combats this tough Oregon lineup. To go along with that, Mason Neville and Jacob Walsh have been tremendous for the Oregon Ducks as the 1 and 2 hitters, respectively, in the lineup all season. It'll be really interesting to see how they attack Mike Gutierrez and the other arms on this Gaucho staff. But until then, the Gauchos will have first pitch set here at 7 p.m., and we will see you at Cesar Uyasaka Stadium.
What are you hoping to see for today's game, given what you've seen so far of our women's team?
Yeah, it's been a really competitive season for UC Santa Barbara. They're coming into this game 20-9 in the regular season. However, in conference play, they did struggle a little bit more, especially against the top-seeded teams in the conference. For UC Riverside, they're coming into this game with a bit of a rough year, 9-20 overall. It's almost an exact flip of UC Santa Barbara, and it'll be really interesting to tell if the Gauchos can stop Wickstrom for UC Riverside. She has been elite all year for UC Riverside. The sophomore is averaging over 20 points per game. Hannah Wickstrom is going to be a menace in today's game for UC Riverside, and only time will tell to see if the Gauchos defense can stop her. For the Gauchos, the biggest thing for them, can they secure enough rebounds to win? Rebounding has been such a flaw for this Gauchos team all season, but with a presumably healthy Skylar Burke back in this Gauchos lineup these last couple games, you got a player like Maddie Naro and Olivia Bradley alongside Zoe Border, a second-team All-Big West member. Anything can happen for this Gauchos.
Past history with the Gauchos and Aggies.
Yeah, and to be frank here, Jim Les, the head coach of UC Davis, he owns UC Santa Barbara these last few years. The Gauchos have not beaten UC Davis since the 22-23 season, albeit that being the last season this men's team went dancing in March Madness in the big tournament. Now for the Gauchos, the biggest thing is, can this backcourt be dominant? Can they be the presence that we've seen throughout the course of this year? Because we know when Mira Little's right, when he's healthy and when he's out there playing and contributing, this Gauchos team is one of the best mid-major teams in the country. For UC Davis, it's a matter of can Connor Sevilla get going early. He's one of the best pure guards in the Big West overall, alongside a few supplementary really good players in Nico Rochek and Niels Cooper as well. UC Davis has depth, but the Gauchos have talent, and that's what they're really going to have to rely on if they want to win here today.
My name is Mack Kiatrungrit, your KCSB Sports Director, and I'm next to Aidan Mahaney, one of the Gauchos' new guards this season. Aidan, how are you doing here, and how are you enjoying Santa Barbara so far?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'm super thrilled to be in this community and back in California, so couldn't be more excited, and I think we got a great team coming in right now.
Awesome. Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you was that obviously you spent your first 2 years at St. Mary's and then last year at UConn under Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
Adjusting here to Santa Barbara, what have been some of the challenges for you adjusting Coach V's system, and what have been some of the things that have been awesome and surprising to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is my second time going through the transfer portal process, so I feel like I've gotten used to having to adapt to a new system, so it hasn't been too many struggles. If anything, it's just about bonding with the guys and forming that gel that you need to have a championship team. So really spending time with these guys over here and, you know, making sure that I'm taking them out for meals, making sure that I'm checking in on them when they're hurt, has been my biggest challenge, so to say. But after doing this this past season, I feel like I've been able to seamlessly transition into this new role and new school.
Great. And the next thing I wanted to ask you was, obviously your first 2 years, you were a real focal point of that St. Mary's team.
Yeah.
Last year you played a little bit more of a reserve role for UConn. Mm-hmm. What do you expect your role to be carved out for you here?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely came here to have a bigger role. I think that was a huge thing in my decision process to hit the portal and then eventually decide to come to Santa Barbara. So really just focus on being an impact player. I think you realize when you're not playing as much, it means something to matter in a game and to really like have a heavy impact on the outcome of a game. So that's all I really care about, is coming in here and really mattering in every game and giving us a chance to win. So as long as I'm doing that, whether the ball's in my hand and whether it's not, I'll be content.
Awesome. The next thing I wanted to ask you, obviously your first few years at St. Mary's, you average around 3 assists per game.
Yeah.
Should we expect to see you in that facilitator role? Should we expect to see you more on the ball? What should we expect to see from you and your play style this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can play on ball and off ball. I've always kind of felt of myself as more of a combo guard. We have a really good transfer from Utah, Miro Little, who came in, who's a pretty primary ball handler to say. So I believe I'll play a little bit off ball, but I think I'll also be able to dish out assists by playing off ball and by getting through our actions. So really just excited to kind of, do whatever the team asks of me and get some wins.
Great. So you're one of the few guys on this team that's been to March Madness every single year of his collegiate basketball career.
On the team that has done
which is
yes,
amazing for this team, especially with so many guys who have not been to the dance before.
Yes.
Being one of the few guys with that playoff pedigree, how are you instilling that playoff pedigree and that championship experience onto this team? And how do you think this team has kind of responded to that so far?
Yeah, well, first of all, playoff pedigree. I like where you go with that. That's a nice little PP right there. I like that. Well, I think the biggest thing when it comes to playoff pedigree is first rebounding and defense. I think those are two things that we've highlighted a lot throughout our practices and throughout, just our team meetings. So that's been essential. And then I think just team bonding is something that goes kind of slipped under the rug that a lot of people don't notice unless you're a part of one of those organizations and teams. So really having each other's back and caring for one another, I think is so essential to have a team that's willing to, push through that extra last minute and push through fatigue and push through injury. And I think we've formulated really good bonds throughout these first couple months, and hopefully it'll continue to grow throughout our battles that we face, starting with the first one on Tuesday.
Great. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, a bit of a fun question here.
Good.
We've seen on your Instagram you like to throw on some cool fits every now and then.
I appreciate that, man. I try.
Who are your top 5 best dressed teammates on the team? You can say yourself as well.
I really like that. Okay, well, I'm definitely in the 5. I'm not going to put myself at 1 or 5, but I'm in there somewhere.
Great.
If I'm looking around right now, my Bay Area brother Zion Sensley would probably fit the mold of well-dressed individuals. I would say that Miro Little from Utah and Baylor, he has a little Finnish flair to his fashion. Finnish flair fashion.
Got it.
I like that. So I'd put him in that. Isaac Singari, not Singari, that's, how do you pronounce it? Yeah, I'm working on his pronunciation. My brother Isaac has unbelievable outfits as well. So I'd put him in there. And then for my 5th, to round it off, I'm going to go with a sleeper pick. And I'm going to choose John Simcoe.
Okay.
He's unique, he's original, and you're always going to be surprised, but you're never going to be upset with his fashion. That's what I got. Those are my 5.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We really appreciate it, and we're super excited for your season.
My man, I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mack Kiatrungrit, your KCSB sports director, and I'm here with head coach of the UC Santa Barbara men's basketball team, Joe Pasternack. Coach, just first and foremost, how was your off-season and how are you doing right now?
I'm excited. You practice in the month of July, August, September, October, and it's all about the start of the season. And every college basketball program is so excited for this coming week because everybody opens Monday or Tuesday.
Awesome. Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you, Coach, was after last year's loss to UC San Diego in the semifinals of the playoffs, you told us that this team this year would be relying a lot on its returning pieces. Now, you did bring in a lot of new depth and experience, but the returners that you brought in are going to be really important, including KK Tong, Jason Fontanet, Colin Smith, and Zion Sensley. Can you talk a little bit about your excitement about the continuity of this team and how important is that going to be come playoff time?
Look, in college basketball, the number one deciding factor of success is retention. And we were able to retain 8 guys. To get Zion Sensley back, Colin Smith, Jason Fontanet, ZZ Clark, KK, and Evans Caputo, man, that's huge because they know your system, your culture. They can pass it down to the new guys. And then, the next bucket was high school guys. We got some really talented high school guys, and Luke Zeffalato, CJ Shaw, and Mike Simcoe. And then finally, we got 4 guys out of the portal, and Aidan Mahaney, Miro Little, Hosanna Katinge, and Marvin McGee. So we have a really balanced unit of recruiting, but it definitely starts with our retention of our guys.
The next thing I wanted to ask you, The first few guys off the bench last year included Ben Stolzberg, Deuce Turner, and Max Merle. This year, you guys brought in a lot of new pieces on this team, and you brought back, like you mentioned, several returning pieces to play big roles off the bench. Who are some of the few guys that we can expect to see play big roles and minutes off the bench this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we haven't decided who we're starting yet, but I think we have 10 to 12 deep. CJ Shaw from Las Vegas, he was the Gatorade Player of the Year. He'll be one of the first guards off the bench. ZZ Clark as well, first guards off the bench. Zion Sensley could start, could come off the bench, but Zion had a huge game when we scrimmaged Fresno. Zion's going to be a big part of what we do as well. And then Mike Simcoe, as a freshman, is going to be a dynamite big guy for us. We're really excited about him. And then you have KK and Evans, so we're really deep.
Something you just mentioned to and alluded to leads me to my next question, which is there going to be a little bit of playing around with the starting lineup this year? Are you going to try out different rotations in the starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, right now we haven't decided who we're going to start. So we're working on different lineups all the time in practice.
Great. The next question I wanted to ask you, the Gauchos last year were one of the slower teams in the Big West when it came to half-court offense and overall play. We saw in spurts in games like Hawaii here at home where you guys were really aggressive, guarding full court and playing really fast transition offense basketball. Is that something we can expect to see more this year? And if so, or if not, what can we expect to see the Gauchos' identity be this year?
Yeah, defensively, I think we can really push the ball. We really worked really hard this summer on pace, getting the ball out and going and really fast pace, and hopefully I think we can do that. We scored 120 points versus Fresno State.
There's a few people on this team, Coach, that have been to March Madness and gone in deep playoff runs before, including yourself. Could you talk a little bit about the locker room expectations of this team, and do you feel like this team is ready for the moment right now?
Yes, I think that, you know, we don't talk about championships. We just talk about being a champion every single day. But Aidan Mahaney, you know, he's been to 3 straight NCAA tournaments. KK and Evans have been to the NCAA tournament. And Miro Little with Baylor, he went to the NCAA tournament. So, you know, I think we had that experience. But for us, it's all about each day. Can we be a champion every day? That's what our complete focus is on.
Great. I just have 2 more questions for you, Coach. One being, 2 big guys that you brought on this team this year are obviously Miro Little and Aidan Mahaney, both of whom you mentioned. Can we expect to see Miro Little in kind of that facilitator role and then Aidan Mahaney playing more off ball? Are they going to be interchangeable in those rights?
You know, they're going to be interchangeable, but they can both play both positions, so they'll play both.
Great. And the last question that I have to ask you today is, who is one guy or maybe multiple guys that you really expect to break out this year? That can be returning players or new guys here at this time.
I think Zion Sensley has a chance to really break out. Simcoe, CJ Shaw, Jason Fontenette can even have a bigger role. So I'm excited. I think we have some really good depth, and we just got to get healthy and stay healthy.
Well, I appreciate your time,
Thanks,
Coach.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.